40 times the legal limit, 11 million vehicles, in 170 countries, for 6 years. There is a piece of software, 12 lines of code, that can detect when a car is being emissions tested in a laboratory. And when it detects the test, it switches the engine into a clean mode. Lower power, lower emissions. Perfectly compliant. Then the test ends. The car drives onto the road, and the engine returns to its normal mode, producing 40 times the nitrogen oxide that the test showed. The car passed the test. The car was never actually clean. You would assume that a fraud of this scale required an elaborate conspiracy, a shadowy group of executives making secret decisions in closed rooms. The reality was more mundane and more disturbing. It started with an engineering problem that engineers could not solve, and a deadline that management would not move, and a culture where saying we cannot do it was not an acceptable answer. The software was not a master plan, it was a shortcut, built under pressure, approved without sufficient scrutiny, and sold to 11 million customers who were told they were buying something clean. Think about the last time you were under pressure to deliver something that could not be done the right way in the time available. Did you find a shortcut? Did you flag the problem? Or did you find a way to make it look like it worked? The people who built the defeat device made a choice, and by the end of this video, I will show you the specific moment in 2014 when Volkswagen had the chance to stop and chose not to. That choice is the real story. Subscribe, because the Volkswagen Dieselgate story is not just about one company, it is about what happens inside every organization where the pressure to perform meets the impossibility of the task. Let's go. In the realm of automotive engineering, the defeat device is a masterpiece of dark optimization. It was not a glitch, and it was not a loose wire. It was a sophisticated piece of code, 12 lines of logic embedded within the engine control module. The software monitored 5 specific inputs: the angle of the steering wheel, the speed of the vehicle, the position of the accelerator pedal, the local barometric pressure, and the total duration of engine operation. In a laboratory setting, it detected a specific, rigid environment, a fixed steering wheel, a steady controlled acceleration, a precise temperature range. It recognized the pattern of an emissions test. In response, it entered clean mode. The engine pulled back, burning more fuel, scrubbing nitrogen oxide from the exhaust. But the moment the car hit the road, the algorithm sensed the variability of real driving. It detected the subtle movements of the steering wheel and the erratic shifts in throttle. It disengaged the pollution controls, prioritizing performance over compliance. This was not an accident. It was a choice born from a deadline. In 2006, Volkswagen made a strategic decision to conquer the American market with TDI diesel engines. The goal was the torque and efficiency of diesel without the smoke that haunted the technology's public image. The problem: American nitrogen oxide standards were 6 times stricter than the European equivalent. Volkswagen's engine, as designed, could not meet them without sacrificing the performance that made it attractive. Urea injection systems, large catalytic converters, the legitimate solutions were expensive, complex, and compromised the driving experience that sold cars. The engineers were under immense pressure. The deadline was fixed. The marketing campaign was planned. And so they chose an engineering shortcut. What makes this particularly striking is that they had historical precedent to reference. In the 1970s, Volkswagen had experimented with similar defeat devices to bypass early American emissions controls. They were caught. The fine, $120,000. To the engineers of 2006, this was a manageable cost of doing business. They rationalized the risk, believing that if they were discovered again, the penalty would remain a rounding error in a multi-billion-dollar budget. They were wrong. By 2008, the software was standard across the entire lineup: the Jetta, the Golf, the Passat, the Beetle, into the Audi A3, A6, A7, A8, into Skoda and Seat. This was not a rogue team acting in the shadows. It was the structural heartbeat of the Volkswagen Group's global diesel strategy for 7 years. And here is the number that puts the deception in physical terms. On a road, the affected engines emitted up to 40 times the legal limit of nitrogen oxide. A 2025 report estimated that the excess emissions from these vehicles caused 760 billion euros in economic health costs globally. That number, 760 billion, is the physical consequence of 12 lines of software. Between 2008 and 2015, Volkswagen ran an aggressive marketing campaign called Clean Diesel. They placed imagery of pristine forests and blue skies across billboards and television commercials, positioning themselves as the vanguard of sustainable motoring. The peak of this narrative came in 2009. The Jetta TDI won Green Car of the Year at the Los Angeles Auto Show. As the executive stood on stage to accept the trophy, the car in the parking lot outside was quite literally running software designed to evade the very standards the award sought to celebrate. It was a perfect juxtaposition of identity and deception. Type executives in the comments if you think leadership knew from the beginning, or type engineers if you think this started as a technical decision that management genuinely did not understand. I read every answer. The turning point that separates a technical error from a deliberate crime occurred in 2014. Researchers from West Virginia University, commissioned by the International Council on Clean Transportation, took a Volkswagen diesel vehicle for a test drive equipped with portable emissions measurement systems. The data was unequivocal. The car emitted between 15 and 35 times the legal limit of nitrogen oxides on real roads. The researchers shared these findings with Volkswagen before publication. At this moment, Volkswagen held the keys to its own redemption. They could have approached the EPA, admitted the design flaw, initiated a recall, and faced the consequences. Instead, they chose to manage the disclosure. They formed an internal task force. The stated goal was to handle regulatory inquiries. The internal mandate was to protect the deception. They updated the software, not to fix the emissions, but to make the irregularities less obvious. They made the lie more sophisticated, not smaller. Type new if you think the CEO at the time was aware of the defeat device before September 2015. Or type isolated if you think the cover-up happened below him without his knowledge. One word. The fallout when the EPA finally issued its notice of violation in September 2015 was immediate and total. The CEO resigned within days. The stock fell by a third in the first week, more than $40 billion in market value erased in days. Oliver Schmidt, who led Volkswagen's environmental office in the United States, was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison. The total cost, more than $30 billion in fines, settlements, and recalls. The $14.7 billion American settlement was the largest automotive consumer settlement in history. 3 profiles, 3 specific readings. If you invest in automotive or industrial stocks, the gatilho from Dieselgate is the regulatory certification risk. When a company's core product depends on government certification, emissions, safety, medical devices, the discovery that certification data was manipulated creates a liability without a ceiling. Volkswagen's $30 billion cost was not predictable from any financial model. In regulated industries, compliance is not a cost center. It is the foundation of the entire revenue model. If you work in engineering, compliance, or regulatory affairs, the gatilho is the escalation dynamic. The defeat device started as a temporary engineering solution. It was rationalized as a placeholder until a real technical fix could be developed. The temporary became permanent because the regulatory environment did not immediately detect it, because the financial consequences of confession seemed worse than continuation, and because each year that passed made confession harder. Understanding this escalation pattern, where a small ethical compromise becomes an institutional commitment, is more valuable than any compliance checklist. If you are watching as a business observer, the normalization of deviance is the quiet poison that kills companies long before they file for bankruptcy. It starts with small, justifiable shortcuts meant to save a project from delay, and ends with the wholesale institutionalization of fraud as standard operating procedure. Now, the document I promised at the beginning. When the ICCT shared the West Virginia University findings with Volkswagen in 2014, the company had a choice. The cost of confessing in 2014, significant fines, a massive recall, the end of the clean diesel campaign, reputational damage, severe but recoverable. the cost of not confessing $30 billion, criminal convictions, the resignation of the CEO, a reputational wound that has not fully healed a decade later. The $30 billion cost is not the cost of building the defeat device. It is the cost of one additional year of compounding concealment after the moment when confession was still manageable. Every day the task force operated, the legal exposure grew. Every day the software ran, the number of people who knew expanded. Every day that passed, the distance between what Volkswagen had told the world and what was true became wider. The shortcut is almost always the longest way to the end. After Dieselgate, the European Union, the United States, China, South Korea, and India all implemented real driving emissions testing vehicles on actual roads, in actual driving conditions. The regulatory framework that existed before 2015, the one that made the defeat device possible, no longer exists. The final irony: the company that built software to evade laboratory tests inadvertently accelerated the global transition away from laboratory tests. Volkswagen's fraud changed how emissions are tested everywhere. Subscribe, because next on this channel, FTX, the $32 billion exchange that collapsed in 72 hours, and the specific accounting document that had been hiding the fraud for 2 years. Subscribe. Hit the bell. In September 2015, the CEO released a video. He said he was shocked by the events of the past few days. He did not have, and never had, the intention of harming customers, employees, or Volkswagen. He blamed the deception on, quote, the terrible mistakes of a few people. The Department of Justice's subsequent investigation found that hundreds of Volkswagen employees were involved. The task force created in 2014 had members at multiple levels of the organization. The defeat device had been reviewed, modified, and maintained by teams across multiple years and multiple brands. It was not the terrible mistakes of a few people. Volkswagen did not need a few bad people to produce Dieselgate. It needed a system where delivering the impossible was required, where admitting failure was not an option, and where 12 lines of software seemed like a better answer than telling the truth. The cost of the truth was always high, but the cost of the lie eventually exceeded the value of the company itself. And that is not a lesson about emissions testing. It is a lesson about what happens to every organization that builds a culture where the right choice is too costly to make.